Rosie wakes up to white walls and a familiar, sterile environment. This is not the first time she has been here, and it will not be the last. The school infirmary.
You had another episode.
The familiar voice comes from her side. She doesn't need to turn to recognize the speaker, her brother, Jonathan. Rosie bites her lips, a nervous habit, and asks, "How bad was it this time?"
Pretty bad.
Jonathan's voice is curt, the edges of frustration cutting into his tone. It's the same sound he makes whenever he's trying to keep his anger at bay. Rosie struggles to keep from involuntarily shivering. The wards in the infirmary are spelled to keep the spirits of the dead at bay, but she can see their ghostly forms, pressed up against the glass doors and windows, mouths open, in silent speech. The spirits have never been this bad before. Normally, they're somewhat polite, but their presence has dramatically increased in recent weeks, becoming nearly unbearable. The invisible scars throughout her body are proof of that. "There is something else we could try," the school nurse says. "Professor Romanov actually brought this to my attention the other day. He already prepared the materials just in case, but he wanted to stress that this is your choice, Rosie." She takes out a pair of surprisingly stylish sunglasses and a set of padded earmuffs. As Jonathan examines the materials, he recognizes extremely powerful protective wards against the deceased, or more specifically, ghosts and spirits. The sunglasses have been inscribed with vision-blocking properties against the deceased, as well as charms to prevent their premature and unwilling removal. The earmuffs have also been similarly inscribed, except with audio-blocking properties against the deceased. Turmoil flickers through Jonathan's face, along with a myriad of expressions: conflict, sadness, anger, and helplessness. Rosie does not see this as she takes the sunglasses and earmuffs and inspects them with open curiosity. She'll be excused from her classes for the rest of the week as an adjustment period, the school nurse says. And all of the faculty members are very understanding about the situation and would like to offer their reassurances that they will work with the both of you on this delicate matter. Jonathan is quiet for a long while and finally says,
It'll just be for a little while. I promise. I promise you, Rosie. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this.
Rosie looks at the spelled materials for a moment and then nods without further hesitation, placing the sunglasses over her eyes and the earmuffs on her head as she says, "I trust you." She marvels at the way the spirits seem to disappear almost instantly. These items have been imbued with extremely powerful magic that seems to surround her with a warm feeling of protection. She'll have to remember to thank Professor Romanov the next time she sees him, as he'll want an update on the effectiveness of the items. Although the professor tends to be gruff and rude most of the time, he truly is skilled and deserving of his title, and he has always been helpful in regards to her situation.
Jonathan is already typing away on his phone, sending a message to Telvind before making sure that his sister is comfortable with her new restrictions. I'll speak to the Theurge. You get a hold of the Conjurer. We don't have much time left. I'll go to the underworld and petition Hades myself if I have to.
The response comes almost immediately. "On it. And you know we'd go with you, idiot. She's our sister, too."
Jonathan forces himself to smile and comment, "Well, at least those sunglasses are stylish."
Rosie beams at him. "I can still see and hear, silly. They're comfortable. I barely noticed them. And I'm hungry. Let's go get ice cream."
Jonathan nods in response, mentally going through the schedules of their friends. Sophie should be free right now, no doubt waiting for an update. More likely ready to burst into the infirmary herself if he doesn't contact her soon. He lets his sister tug him by the sleeve as he sends another text message, and his resolve hardens. He will not fail.
Welcome to Arcadia Academy, the elite school for magicians. Here, we teach our students to prepare for battle like Athena, but fight like Ares. All of our students have the opportunity to learn battle magic should they choose. But remember, great magic requires sacrifice. Hi guys, and welcome back to Arcadia Academy. I'm Kelly, your DM for this campaign. Joining me today are Betty, who plays Cassandra, Cecil, who plays John Baptiste,
Hi, guys.
Caleb, who plays James,
How's it going?
Logan, who plays Demetrius,
Hey everyone.
Nick, who plays Alex,
Hello, hello.
and occasionally will be graced by Rosie, our resident cat dragon. So, when we last left off, you guys began your second week of classes, which included being woken up at dawn by your discipline mentors for physical fitness class. You guys also had an encounter with Mephits, courtesy of Professor Romanov, who tasked all of you to retrieve 4 very specific wines from the wine cellar in the basement of the school. After you successfully complete this task, he rewarded those students who brought back wine bottles with gold star stickers, which was confusing to all of you. However, those stickers will play a role at some point. So we're going to pick up immediately where we left off, which is you guys were just dismissed by Professor Romanov and free to return to your dorm rooms, where you find magical sticky notes adhere to your doors again.
Alex goes up to his door and begrudgingly takes the note off of it.
So as you guys read this note, it informs you that the note informs you that you have been assigned in study groups and that you will begin learning languages on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons after your intro to alchemy class.
Does it say who I'm paired up with?
Nope. It's
Fair
just
enough.
literally do the thing.
Do the thing.
Okay.
Very interesting.
So the day passes, you guys go to bed. Cassandra,
Yes.
as you go to bed, you start dreaming about things, whatever it is that you might typically dream about. What does Cassandra dream about? What do you think she would dream about?
That's a good question.
Like kittens and cute things? Books? Reading all the books?
Maybe?
Okay,
It's
so
very
you start having
Betty
pleasant
answered the
dreams.
question. Betty doesn't dream very much, so I don't know what dreams look like very much.
Gotcha. Okay, so then Cassandra turns in for the evening, and you slip off into the realm of sleep. And I need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. That's a crit.
Okay,
23.
you wake up, like you shoot up straight out of bed, overcome by the worst pain that you've ever felt in your entire life. It feels like your insides are being ripped in two.
Okay. I'm going to jump out of bed. Does
You
it
fall
stop
to your
af-
knees as you try to stumble out of bed.
Okay. Logan, you need to have these jokes out loud.
You do. You need to make these comments out loud.
I'm eating.
Audience, Logan had commented, "Is that the same pain men feel when they have a cold?" A lot worse.
He typed it in the chat. Just a little bit worse.
A lot worse. Like, it doesn't stop when you jump out of bed. You can't even jump out of bed. Like, you stumble out of bed, you fall to your hands and knees, and you're still like gasping because it hurts so bad.
Okay.
It feels like someone's trying to pull you away.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, this pain is beyond physical. It is absolutely the worst pain you've ever had. It's worse than it's like worse than all your period cramps combined. It's so bad.
Oh. Now you bring up period cramps, like, oh goodness.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, do you
okay.
make a sound? Are you screaming? Are you keeping it in? Like,
I don't think that she would scream. I think she would just curl up in a ball Wait, is it an external pain? Like it feels like something is tugging on like all of me, or is it like something internal?
A little of both. It feels like something is reaching deep inside of you and trying to physically wrench you away. Your magic feels like it's spiraling out of control.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to our mentors are above us, below
Your
us.
mentors are, well, they're on different floors because they're in different years. Ruga would be at least 2 floors below you.
Okay.
And you can't get up right now because you're in so much pain.
Is he within 120 feet of me?
No.
And or do I know what direction it is?
The pain or Ruga?
Ruga.
Ruga is 2 floors below you.
Okay. So
What
not
does
within
120
100.
feet look like? Hold on.
I don't know.
Oh, damn.
I'm trying to
How high
message.
An average floor? No.
Yeah.
Wall. You said 120 feet?
Yeah, 120 feet. That's the range for message.
Oh, so then, yeah, I guess he would be within range. Okay, so apparently the most common wall height for homes in the US is 8 feet. Luxury homes
Oh,
have
okay.
walls that are 9 or 10 feet. So I'm assuming that, yes, he's within 120 feet.
Okay. I'm like down the hole or whatnot. Okay. I'm gonna assume that I know generally where he is. And hold on.
I'll say you
Can
would
I-
because when you guys were at the party, you guys did wander around a little bit.
Okay. I
And
can
so
cast
you
a
would have had an
spell.
idea.
I can cast a spell through solid objects if I'm familiar with the target and know it is beyond the barrier. Okay, here.
Ooh, but there's
Let
a
me just-
problem. Magical
linked
silence,
it.
1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood blocks the spell. You've got 2 floors between you and him, at a minimum.
Okay.
And that's not counting
Okay.
doors, that's not counting anything else.
Who's the closest of the party to me? Like my neighbors.
So let me drag. Oh, where did my thingy go? Oh,
I think
here. Let me drag you
I
guys
think I
to the
picked
door.
a room kind of close to Alex because I also wanted a view of the courtyard.
Okay, you're gonna have to pick a room again because I don't see you. So I dragged all of you guys onto the map. So you're gonna try to pick the person
Okay.
closest to you. I think you were close to Alex.
Yeah, I wanted like a view of the tree. So
Okay.
oh, that's why. It's because I'm on the side. Okay, here.
Yeah, you and this was from when you and Jean Baptiste were chit-chatting. So go ahead and pull yourselves back into your rooms.
Yeah, I don't remember which exact
Okay.
room I picked. Pick this one.
Yeah, so I'll just say that in your panic, you just reach into your magic and you kind of send it out, and in your panicked state, it
Mhm.
barely penetrates the 2 walls and reaches Alex.
Okay.
Alex.
How long can my message be?
Yeah, so what message are you trying to send him?
Oh, message doesn't have. Oh, I think it's sending that has a limit. Okay, so message.
It is.
Let's
So
see.
message doesn't, but what are you trying to say to him?
Help.
So, Alex, you are like dead
Yeah, just help.
asleep, really comfy and wrapped up in your blanket, really soft, comfortable blanket, the best blanket you've, ever had. And you suddenly hear Cassandra's voice in your mind,
Screaming in your mind.
screaming in your mind. And what are you saying?
Just help.
So you're screaming loudly, help!
Yeah, Alex would definitely shoot up out of bed after hearing that. He'd get up a bit groggily, but in a kind of rushed state, as dressed as he'd be in his pajamas.
With message, do you know who's sending it to you? Because it doesn't say that.
It says that you can reply.
Yeah.
Target and only the target hears. I'm assuming he would hear it in my voice.
I'm assuming too, but he's
Yeah,
also
I would I'm pretty sure I would recognize it being Cassandra's voice.
Okay, cool.
What
So,
if it's in like
Cassandra,
Morgan Freeman's voice?
so Cassandra, go ahead and make me another Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you that you really don't want to fail this one.
Okay.
Did she fail it?
Hold on. So I can chrono shift. So I can.
Yeah, I'm already running to her room out the door.
You can tell me if it fails, and if it fails, then I can try again.
But this is after you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You don't see a creature
Oh,
No, no,
within
no.
30
okay.
feet of you.
After you
After
or
you or a creature, yeah. So she can.
Okay, well, 12 is going to fail. So if you'd like to reroll, go ahead and reroll.
Okay.
Don't roll lower.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to see, like, is there anything else I could do?
unless I could get over to you with bless, but
Well,
no.
From what I remember, many of you
you did.
have inspirations that you may or may not have used yet.
Oh yeah, I do have inspiration.
True,
Okay.
But you.
What is your version of
You wanna-
inspiration? Are you doing advantage or are you adding a die?
It's going to be a reroll, so advantage.
Disadvantage. Okay, I will cash in my inspiration for this. So I will use my chrono
So you're rolling
shift.
twice?
Yes, I will roll twice again.
Okay.
So don't fail. Oh gosh, you're 14 both times.
goodness. The same.
14 and 14.
Oh,
Oh no.
does it pass?
So Cassandra, if possible, this pain worsens.
Oh no.
And
it's
you
not
feel
success.
something wrapping itself kind of around your core,
Okay.
like it's trying to hijack your discipline abilities.
Interesting. Okay.
Does Alex finally get over to her room?
Sure, we'll say you're right outside her door.
Great. Is it locked?
Do you lock your door at night, Cassandra?
Probably.
I start knocking very quickly. Can you at least still move? Can she still move, DM, or is she kind of stuck?
You can probably crawl to the door. Like,
Um,
it fucking hurts. There's like something trying to tear itself like it from inside.
So
of
I can
you.
feel that it's trying to get my discipline, right? Can I Misty Step? Or would that be a bad idea?
So are you trying to Misty Step using your Traveler ability?
Yes.
You get the feeling that that would be an exceptionally bad idea. If
Okay,
you were
never
to call
mind.
on your discipline abilities right now.
Okay.
You feel like your grip and control that you have on your magic is slipping. And it's kind of spazzing around you, like there are golden sparks just kind of flying off your body every so often as you're curled up in pain.
Okay.
And your magic is almost panicking. It's trying to tell you something, but you're not sure what's going on. All you know is that everything fucking hurts.
Can I firebolt my door? It's a cantrip.
Sure.
Okay.
That's
You
like an
fire
automatic
the
success, right?
cantrips.
Because the door doesn't have a save.
Well, it's a
Okay,
19.
hey Alex,
Yes.
are you wearing armor?
Uh,
I did 4 damage to the door.
no.
Okay, so as you stand outside Cassandra's door knocking, like frantically, trying to see what's going on, there's a loud explosion sound that hits the door. It flies open, it smacks you in the face.
Sorry.
You take 1 point of damage, but the door is now kind of bounces off your forehead and falls back down onto the floor, essentially.
Do we hear the racket?
Ye-
Passive?
What's your
Yeah,
passive
what-
perception? Yeah, that.
I don't know.
Is it above like a 10?
It's it should tell you on your character sheet.
Mine is
Yeah.
a 10.
So if your passive perception is, we'll say above a 10, I'm going to say you guys do hear the sound of the door smacking on the floor because it is quite loud. And I mean, I'm sure the firebolt sound of, a firebolt hitting your door would also be quite loud. It would have
So,
splintered.
Now would be a good time for me to have protection from good and evil prepared.
My
I'm looking at all my prepared spells.
So,
I have Bless,
Alex,
Cure Wounds, and Sanctuary.
As the door falls onto the floor, you see Cassandra on the floor, kind of crouched on her hands and knees. Her magic kind of spazzing around her, like sparking, like sparks flying off of her.
I have spare the dying.
So do I. So
Thank you. If I
I'm
die,
I'm going to walk in and I'm going to. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Alex doesn't know if this is going to work or not, but I would like to cast Lesser Restoration on Cassandra, seeing her in pain but not obviously hurt.
It doesn't work.
Well, that's the best I had.
Um,
What's going on?
What's going on,
Can
Cassandra?
I still talk?
It's a little hard for you to talk. You'd be like probably gasping things out. It's a really sharp wrecking pain. Like,
Okay.
I guess the closest analogy I've got is like if you were giving birth or like
I'm imagining
fucking
my
hurts.
period
I don't-
cramps, but just like my whole body times 2. And considering how my period cramps without meds leaves me in bed, I'm thinking something like that.
something like that and a lot
TMI,
worse.
sorry guys.
But that's a good starting point. So something
Okay.
like that.
Let's see.
Oh,
I would
You
also
have
think
no idea what's going on.
Then I'd probably be gasping out magic, stealing, get somebody.
I'm going to scream out towards the hall, but I'm going to avoid actually screaming into my mic here. Someone get the teachers quickly! Cassandra needs help!
so I have a passive of a 10. So did I hear the door break? And if
Yeah,
not,
you
do
would
I
have heard,
hear-
and you would have heard the door breaking, but it might have like just jostled you from sleep. You might have been like, "Huh? Am I dreaming?" But Alex screaming, "Someone get a teacher!" would definitely wake you up.
Afterwards, I would also, since we're not in combat or in initiative, I would also like to cast guidance on her if Lesser Restoration is not helping. It
Okay.
will. I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste bless, but you know what? Bless adds a D4. So should I?
What is guidance? Well,
Guidance
Yeah.
only
is
for
a-
ability. Yeah. No.
oh, it's not
Now would
guidance.
be a good time for the other version of guidance.
So do you want to cast
Discretion.
Bless instead?
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
Did the magic not work before? Like, did the lesser restoration? Did it just like it? He cast it and it just like didn't do anything, or is there like something around me that like prevented it from doing anything?
Good question.
Lesser Restoration didn't work.
Spell
Okay,
itself.
so
That's the wrong-
it like
wrong
hit
spell.
me and
spell.
stuff. It just
The
didn't.
thing affecting
Okay.
you is not a disease or a condition.
Okay, cool.
Okay, can I do something real quick before?
You can attempt to do something, yes.
All right. What if I do that?
Let me read.
And just-
What are you trying to
just to-
command?
Tell whatever, either her or whatever it is, to stop.
Man, it's kind of finicky.
So you're trying to cast it on Cassandra because she's the only one you see within range.
She's the only one. She's the one acting up, and
You don't see a creature within range aside from Cassandra and Alex.
but if the creature's inside
Just
her,
stop it. Stop being dramatic.
You know what?
Just-
Yeah,
just
I
stop.
will.
Okay, Cassandra, roll a Wisdom saving throw. Spell
Great.
save DC 10.
Is your spell
13.
save DC really a 10, Logan?
Yeah, is it really a 10, Logan?
I
It's in a
think
10, Logan.
10 seems basic.
It does.
Yeah,
You should have
it's-
modifiers to that.
I probably do. It's my character sheet's still like half.
That's okay. Hold on. Let's
So,
take a look at your character
what-
sheet real quick.
So what's your charisma based caster, right?
Yeah.
Charisma plus proficiency plus 8 equals spell save DC.
So his charisma. Okay, so you don't have charisma modifiers. You put everything into
Oh.
constitution and strength.
Yeah.
that okay, so it would still be a 12 because your proficiency is 2, right? No, it's 8 plus 10 is correct.
Yeah, 0 plus 2 plus 8.
Yep. Okay, so it is a 10. All right,
boy.
Cassandra, I'm not going to make you roll at disadvantage. You can have the 13. So
Okay.
nothing happens.
Okay.
I will.
Did anybody go get a teacher? Okay, so you hear a voice pipe up from behind you. I'll go. and it's Garrett, and you see him sprinting down the hallway. You hear the sound of footsteps, and you assume he's off to get a teacher or somebody.
Just trust
Oh.
Garrett.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
Which Garrett?
Oh, damn.
Well, you guys are on the first year floor, so assume it's first year Garrett, unless he's hoarding, the Garretts all in the same room.
Potentially good and evil would be really good to
I mean,
have prepared right
I
now.
could cast it, but
Cassandra,
Can I
Yeah.
cast Bless?
would I know to cast it? That was my thing.
I was gonna allow you to cast Bless instead of Guidance.
Yeah. I would like to
Alex?
do. I would like to do that instead. I will cast it on me. Cassandra definitely, and Demetrius, since he's behind me and closer, I think.
Okay. Cassandra, you hear
Yeah.
like a silent, whispery voice in the corner of your mind that tells you that this pain would stop if you just give in.
Fuck you, no.
You just say fuck you, no.
Yes.
And for those 2
Ooh.
seconds before you said the fuck you, it was like the pain like kind of went away, but then as soon as you said fuck you, it returned like tenfold.
Can I cast shields?
Drop it.
Oh
Drop the
wait.
text.
I can't. I don't have my
Hold on.
book.
I
I
hold
can't
on.
do I need my book as a
Okay.
wizard, technically. I can only do cantrips without my book.
Can I do for the fun of it? Can I do detect thoughts?
Sure.
Okay. Interesting.
I just want to know what's going on in their head.
Okay, so you are trying to detect Cassandra's thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Cassandra, what are your surface thoughts? Aside from the fuck you.
If you cast it like right after that, then I'd be thinking there's no way I'm giving in. Like, no, like you can't.
Dude.
Let's see.
Okay.
So I can't detect anything.
It's like
wrong with her.
resolve to
Well,
hold in
based on what
there.
you just heard, you would infer that there's something affecting her, but you can't see a creature.
Okay.
Okay, if I notice, is Bless seeming to help?
Well, she hasn't made another save yet.
That's a good.
Mhm.
I guess we have to wait and see. I'm looking over what we have.
So as you guys kind of debate what to do, you hear the sound of footsteps approaching, and it's the headmistress and your battle magic professor. They're running up the stairs.
Giant.
Well, they look a little more casually dressed than you've seen them. They're wearing kind of like a little less armor than normal. They look kind of like they literally just woke up. Garrett is trailing behind them, kind of gasping, his hands on his knees like he sprinted all the way to the professor dormitories and sprinted back kind of deal.
Mhm.
Wow, why are they so big? Anyways, and they stop right in front of the room, take a look at what's going on. Professor Romanov starts chanting kind of quietly under his breath, holding his hands out, and Headmistress Valentine turns to you, Alex, and says, "What is happening?"
She seems to be in a lot of pain. I don't know what's causing it, though.
Okay, so she kind of gently brushes you aside, places a hand on your shoulder, Cassandra, and she
Okay.
closes her eyes for a moment, and she opens them, and her eyebrows kind of crease, and she says, "There is much darkness at work. The wards of this school, particularly this dormitory, have prevented what would otherwise be a grave event tonight." And Cassandra, with that, you feel the pain go away as Professor
Okay.
Romanov stops chanting. And the faculty members exchange a quick glance, and Yuri Romanov kind of kneels down to inspect the door that you blasted. And it's now that, Alex, with your high passive perception, you notice that there are symbols and runes inscribed on the doors. and you infer that those are some of the protections that they were talking about. And Headmistress Valentine says, whatever or whoever did this was powerful. And I fear that without the protections here, that they would have succeeded. And she looks at you, Cassandra, and you can kind of start breathing a little easier now that the pain's gone. And she says, I see that the threads that were afflicting you are no longer in the proximity. Please try to rest up tonight. If you need to, you may go to the infirmary. But tomorrow we will reinforce these wards and protections. And hopefully this will not happen again.
What was it?
We don't know.
Has this happened before?
Strange things happen from time to time. This particular scenario has not happened before.
It wanted me to give in. It seemed like it was taking my magic, my discipline.
Yes, I saw the threads. It was not a benign creature or being, whatever this was. I have no doubt that it meant you much harm if it had been successful, but it wasn't. You are safe here. I fear that things would have been worse if you weren't here.
I see. Sandra's starting to doubt that if she's actually safe here.
I would like to, real quick, as that's going on, I would like to do a quick insight check on the headmistress to see if
Sure.
what she said was true. 7. I am tired. You know,
You are
I'm
tired.
tired, being rushed awake.
You think she's on the level, like both faculty members do look quite concerned, but Professor Romanov is a little more interested in inspecting kind of the surroundings and the doors than focusing on Cassandra, headmistress. It's kind of like they decided to split tasks up, like him checking on the protections, her checking on the student kind of deal. But you think they're on the level. You don't think they're hiding anything. Or at least you don't think they're hiding anything that they wouldn't tell you guys.
Alex kind of stands up and reaches his hand down to Cassandra, getting his way to kind of pick her up. All right.
So Professor Romanov kind of taps on the door, and right before your eyes, it looks like it's being fixed up, and he carefully replaces the door before heading off. And Headmistress Valentine goes with him.
Well, that was interesting.
That was you good now?
I think so. I'm going to press the digitation just to see what it feels like when I use my magic. It's like some sparks or something.
Yeah, so that's kind of gone away. Like everything feels a little normal again.
Okay.
You kind of feel like that feeling when you're high on adrenaline,
Yeah.
but you're basically normal. You're no longer in
Okay.
pain, but you are breathing a little harder and you're trying to calm down your racing heartbeat because you still have no idea what the fuck just happened.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in the morning.
Yeah. And as you guys kind of try to calm down for the evening and stuff, you guys hear footsteps coming up to you, and it's Garrett, and he's like, yeah, hey guys, yeah, so I got the professors in, they just left, and Professor Romanov told me to give you guys this, and he has a bunch of packets in his hands, and he hands one to each of you, and he goes down the hall, kind of sliding packets under doors for students who aren't here, and so
Thank you,
it is
Garrett.
at this point that you may either open up your envelopes or click on the Google Drive.
Okay.
And so as you guys open the packets, you see a pamphlet, and the title reads, A Fledgling's Guide to Battle Magic, Revised Edition by Yuri Romanov. And there's a note, like a sticky note attached to it, like the very front that says, read up on this, We will cover it in the next class.
Of course, he would have his face on here.
Where's the,
Oh my god, guys, this is legit. Like, honestly.
where's the
Thank
link?
you. I worked very hard on it.
I'm still trying to
I
open
did,
my
actually.
envelope. But
Kelly, where's the
I don't
link?
have a thing open. Or...
Yeah, I worked really hard on this,
Wow.
guys. So
It's like an actual pamphlet. Wow.
it's an actual pamphlet.
I can actually use this when we're playing. Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
well, so
hold
this
up.
is it's like a what do you call it? Like a note card, like a cheat sheet. So I have the
Mhm.
actual documents. If I can find my Battle Magic handouts, I actually uploaded everything onto. Oh wait, so I can actually show you guys
Oh wow. Yeah.
the
this
pamphlet
is-
on Roll20.
Wow.
So at level 3, you guys get boons and burdens. And the shortcut way of looking at these, think of boons as blessings and burdens as curses. There's a lot of stuff to read through, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I will give this to you guys to read through. And again, well, if you have any questions, we'll talk about it later, like next session.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys have a legit fucking pamphlet. I thought
is
of the
nice
title
paper.
like before I thought of the. It is nice paper. I bought it's specialty paper for like pamphlets and stuff.
Nice paper.
I thought
I
of
like it.
I thought of the title before I did anything else, and I was like, dude, I need this to be in like Yuri's snarky voice. So how do I do it? And I was like, well, he calls everybody fledglings, so let's start with that. And then it became a fledgling's guide to battle magic, and I was like, yes, yes, yes. I had so much fun making this, and I also stressed out like 12. I printed this like 20 times because I kept making typos. So that was how my time went. And if you notice at the very bottom underneath references, this publication was approved for circulation by Emma Valentine, headmistress Arcadia Academy.
Yeah, I saw that at the bottom. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. So a couple quick changes. So the biggest changes we made to battle magic in general is 2 things. So number 1, you can use 1 BMP to affect both damage and distance up to a max of 300 feet or 60 feet radius. Like 300 foot distance or 60 foot radius. So you may use 1 BMP instead of one or the other. The other thing is I will tell you guys whether certain areas have low, medium, or high lane lines. These will correspond to either rolling a D4, D8, or D12 to determine how many temporary additional hit die you acquire. So those are the 2 biggest changes we made as far as standard battle magic stuff. So hopefully, because otherwise it's gonna be weird rolling ley lines for each person, and it didn't really make sense. It makes a lot more sense if I tell you guys, hey, just so you know, this is what this area is. And it can change from time to time because I'm thinking of like how the weather is, or like, whether it's the volcano's going to erupt today or not. It's not always 100% probability. It's going to vary. But yeah, so I hope that this pamphlet becomes useful. I did promise you guys that we were going to come up with something, so this is the something we came up with.
It's great.
Thank you.
I definitely like everything in like one place, and like a physical thing is a lot easier to look at than having all of the different handouts open in Roll20. So this is great.
Yeah. So that was the other thing. Like, I want you guys to have that because the handouts in Roll20 have like all the detailed information, like with the boons, right? I have a quick summary of everything, or like, here's what it does, but you don't get the details unless you actually look at the document. So this way you can familiarize yourself and mark things off like, ooh, I'm really interested in using these 3. And then you can focus on that. There's a lot more details than what's in the pamphlet, but the pamphlet's like a good place to start. It's almost like a guide for dummies or like a Wikipedia. But yeah, so I worked hard on this. I hope you guys will find it very useful. And also I wanted to give like that kind of like interactive experience for you guys. So having like an actual envelope that you get to open, like, oh my god. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So the rest of the evening passes by, and you guys are off to your other classes. You guys go to class with Professor DuPont, and the topic of the day is Olympia Village. And as you guys sit in class, she says, "Hello, welcome." So at the conclusion of the second week of classes, first-year students are eligible to visit Olympia Village. For the first visit, you will be going accompanied by your discipline mentors. After that, you may go by yourselves.
What exactly is Olympia Village?
When you ask that, she reiterates from the first class, Olympia Village is a haven for for members of the magical community. Olympia Village has a long history with the original Arcadia Academy. We have always worked well together to maintain the secrecy and the protection of the magical community. So this will be a wonderful opportunity for all of you to meet others like you.
There ain't nobody else like me, darling.
At that, she smiles and says, "Well, we'll see."
Suppose we will.
I would also encourage you at this time to begin thinking about what topics you might like to pursue for your graduation projects, as they will need to be approved by other faculty members. They're not due now, but I would encourage you to start thinking about it. So after that, she lets you guys go early, again, strongly encouraging you to start thinking about topics. As you guys head to the alchemy classroom, or the classroom that you went to for your first alchemy class, you see a sign on the door instructing you to go upstairs to the second floor. But it doesn't tell you where on the second floor.
JB just takes the closest stairwell and goes up a flight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably be following him.
So you guys just walking around until you find like an empty classroom?
I think you probably just see if there's a crowd or see if anyone else.
Yeah.
Look for people.
Where are the people?
So you guys would have all started off kind of outside that main classroom you guys were in the first time. And as JB starts heading up the stairs, the others would have followed. So there's no crowd per se, as you guys are all traveling together.
The instructions just said to go up to the second floor, right? They didn't say to go anywhere else, right?
Yep. It said, "Come find the classroom on the second floor," and
Find the classroom.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess then it would have really
Okay.
said something like class is going to be somewhere on this, like be on the second floor, but it didn't say where on the second floor.
Are there any rooms on the second floor?
Yeah, there are classrooms. It's similar in layout to the first floor, or like any school building where classrooms are many.
Should we split up to try to find it?
I really wish they wouldn't play these games.
I mean, to be fair, what would be so hard about giving us like numbers or times, locations? They really miss out on all the detail.
What's the closest classroom that has an open door? I mean, are there any classrooms that have open doors, I guess is the better question.
So as you walk down, you notice that the doors are closed. However, some classrooms are lit, some have windows where there are people inside, but there are some that aren't lit. There's nobody inside. You're able to kind of peek through the windows at each one to determine whether there are people inside. Are you trying any of the doors?
I guess any of the doors that don't look like there is a class inside?
Okay. So, Alex, you approach a nearby classroom that appears to be empty. You try the door and it opens.
I peek my head in and look for any instructors.
There's nobody there. It's an empty classroom.
Huh. Guys, this one is unlocked. If we want to go in.
Do any of the doors have anything like symbols on them, numbers or names or plaques, anything? Or like next to the door on the wall?
There are numbers. They're, from what you infer, they're labeled kind of in order. So like the classroom next to you would be like, say, classroom 2-13. You infer that's classroom 13 on the second floor. The one next to it is 2-14 and 2-15, so on and so forth.
See,
They are labeled. They just refuse to actually give us the
yes, they have labels. Why do
Um,
they not use them?
Well, like,
This
maybe because
school-
they decide that they don't need them because we've all been going to the same classroom. What happens if we all sit in different classrooms?
That's actually a great
You know what? That
question.
is.
I'm game.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the one next to the one that Nick opened
Okay.
and try that door.
Okay. It opens. So I guess
Okay.
at that you might infer that classrooms that don't have people in it are probably left unlocked. There might be certain classrooms that may be locked depending on how often they're used or whatnot.
Okay. Does the layout on the inside of the classroom look the same as Nick's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna go inside and sit down. I'm gonna leave the door open though.
Okay.
Demetrius is going to do the same, but he's going to go down a few doors,
Okay.
open it up.
This makes sense. What are the rest of our classmates doing?
Garrett,
They look
go.
a little confused watching you guys go
Yeah,
into like
Garrett.
random classrooms and sitting down.
I forced Garrett into one room.
Okay. I guess I'll be here.
One of these must work.
Mariana just crosses her arms and leans against the wall. She doesn't bother going into a classroom. And
That's pretty much what John Baptiste is doing as well.
and some of the other students decide to follow you guys. After a moment, you hear kind of the sound of footsteps moving quickly down the hallway, like the sound of heels clicking on the floor. And you see Professor Cresswell round the corner with a suitcase. She looks a little bit in a hurry, like she's in a rush. And as she runs up to you guys and she stops before Mariana and John Baptiste and the majority of your classmates, she goes, "Howdy, y'all. How have you been?
Good morning, instructor.
Morning." And she turns and gestures towards the classroom that Cassandra's in. "We'll be in here today. Don't sit down just yet." And she walks into the classroom with the suitcase. She places it down on the desk in front of the classroom and flips open the latches, turning the suitcase to face outward into the classroom. And right before your eyes, you see something unfold from the suitcase, rolling around the classroom and touching every surface. The walls, the floor, the desks, the chairs. And before your eyes, you see what looks like the making of, well, an alchemy lab painted onto the surfaces. Once the last corner is covered, Professor Cresswell takes a quick glance to double check around her, and then she snaps her fingers, and the classroom springs to life with a soft popping sound, jumping from 2D to 3D. The labs are filled with rows and rows of benches and stools, and there's a variety of equipment on each desk. On one end are items that you would see in an alchemy lab, such as a cauldron, beakers, test tubes, and empty containers. There are bundles of equipment such as tongs, knives, metal stir sticks, and similar items. And there's also PPE, personal protective equipment. And there are 2 entire walls lined from floor to ceiling and from side to side, filled with what seems like an endless amount of ingredients. One wall contains ingredients displayed in jars, vials, and beakers. The other wall contains numerous identical-looking drawers, and all the ingredients are neatly labeled. And with that, she kind of Professor Cresswell perches her hands on her hips, looks around satisfied, and turns towards you guys and says, "Come on in."
While Demetrius walks out of his classroom and into that one, if Garrett's coming out, he
Let me
pushes
bring you
Garrett
guys
back into that
visually.
classroom.
Here's a visual of what something of that would look like. Please tell me you see the visual.
We see the
Yes.
visual.
Great.
Super colorful. Super colorful.
It is. I love it.
Yes.
But anyways, so that is your alchemy classroom for the day.
Yeah, Alex would walk out of his classroom and kind of look into the alchemy room, kind of take a step back to one of the other classrooms that looks normal, and then back up
Like doing a double take.
before. Yeah, does a double take before entering.
Yeah. So you guys sit down and she introduces the topic for the day, which is today we're going to learn how to identify and gather ingredients for healing potions and salves.
We're making sweet tea.
And we can absolutely make sweet tea, hun. And she places a beaker in front of you, Demetrius, and it's unsweet tea.
Crime against humanity.
Well, remember,
Pain
he
in-
likes his tea plain and bitter, like his personality.
Exactly.
Protest.
But there are pitchers of tea, sweet and unsweet, available for you to help yourselves to throughout the lesson. And you guys spend the rest of your time working with these ingredients, holding them in your hand, learning, what do fresh herbs look like, what do bad herbs look like, and so on and so forth. And afterwards, she dismisses you guys, and you guys are on your way to the library for your first language learning class.
So Demetrius has never been to the library yet. He doesn't know what a library is.
Fucking lies! You're super rich. Your family would have a personal private library in your mansion.
Very true. That's very true.
You're really gonna like it there, Cher.
You wouldn't know what a public library is, probably. We'll say that.
Well, I don't know where this library's at.
Oh.
Plenty of snacks out front to enjoy.
Well, so Demetrius, all first-year students were instructed to go to the library, so you could just follow the crowd and pretend you know where you're going.
Works for me.
Sorry, you've said more than once. Yeah, my family's super rich. So I'm like, super rich people have fucking libraries. Like, you remember Beauty and the Beast? The Beast has a whole ballroom library. Your family probably has something like that. You might never go because, why need to read? But
Yeah, I have an iPad, Dad. God.
you know what? Ebooks are a thing.
That hurts.
Probably.
Hurts my soul.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so you guys go to the library. And when you guys walk in, I have too many maps. I couldn't find the library for a second. Okay.
The life of the DM.
Okay. So when you guys go into the library, you see a clearly labeled little sign pointing downstairs towards the basement. And it's labeled first year language study groups.
Wow, it's a miracle. We have a sign telling us where to go.
For once, they tell us what to do.
And
There's signs
there's
in
another
class
sign
or
underneath it that
years.
indicates that if you're going downstairs to the private study areas, you can have food and drinks. Just make sure you clean up after yourselves.
Oh, cool.
John Baptiste grabs something off of the reception counter before we headed off.
So you would have had to purposely gone up to the reception counter. The library is a little ways away from the reception counter.
Well, I thought that there was like a check-in thing at the start of the library where people were told to leave their beverages.
So that's the
food.
reception desk. So if you're heading into the main floor of the library, no food or drinks or electronics are allowed. If you're heading straight to the basement, you still can't have electronics, but you can have food and drinks.
Right. So as soon as we are allowed to know that we're allowed to bring food and drinks, he's going to go and retrieve
okay.
some food and then go.
Are you being subtle about it, or are you just going up and grabbing
No,
shit?
he does what he does. He goes and
Okay.
he picks it over, finds something he's interested in, and takes it, and then goes to where he's supposed to be.
Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Did you just take somebody's happy
Yeah.
lunch?
Uh-huh.
Well, they weren't using it.
Okay, so
That still doesn't mean you do it.
Why not?
It's not socially correct, I guess would be the right way of putting it.
If they are so concerned about it, why they leave it sitting out there for me to take?
Because they weren't allowed to bring it into the library?
Then why'd they bring it, Cher?
That is honestly a better question. I have no comeback to that one.
They brought it for me to pick up and enjoy. That's why they brought it.
okay,
But if it
so
lets you sleep at night,
nobody says anything. Nobody sees John Baptiste taking somebody's food. But you guys make your way downstairs, and there are a series of private study areas, and there's a list of names outside each one. And you guys notice that all 5 of you and Mariana are placed in the same study room.
how interesting.
If John Baptiste has something that's like small and shareable, like chips or something, then I'm going to take one. Like chips or fries or something like that.
Absolutely. John Baptiste will share.
When Mariana reads the names on the list, she kind of casts like a side glance at the rest of you, and she sighs a little to herself, but she walks into the room, leaving it open behind her.
Great.
I follow behind.
John Baptiste is going to nod at Mariana when she comes into the room.
Okay, so you guys all make your way into the room, and you guys see other students kind of breaking off into groups and headed off into other rooms. You guys make yourselves comfortable, sit down, and after a couple minutes, Calypso walks into the room with a stack of what looks like slabs of stone in her hands. And she passes them out to you guys. You guys each have one. And she says, "Welcome, young ones, to private language studies. A magician must have mastery over more than one language. And for that, we are loaning you pieces of the Rosetta Stone with which to familiarize yourself with your languages of choice. The reason that you've been broken down into groups is so that you may practice speaking with one another. You will need to attune to your Rosetta Stone tablets. They are yours to borrow for the duration of your time at Arcadia Academy. These must be returned before graduation."
Demetrius raises his hand and says, "I prefer Duolingo."
She gives you an unamused smile and says, "Well, young one, go ahead and see if Duolingo teaches you ancient Persian."
Actually, let me check. I got the app right here.
Phones aren't allowed in the library.
Oh, God.
And as soon as Demetrius takes out his phone, she looks at you, puts a hand on her hip, and says, "Young one, have you not read the contract? Personal technological devices are not allowed in this facility, nor are they allowed in the classrooms." And she waves her hand, and your phone shuts off on you.
I put my phone away.
Well, yeah, your phone's dead. Okay, so you guys spend the next several minutes kind of getting attuned to these devices, these slabs of stone, these Rosetta Stones, and you feel like your magical cores are connecting to these devices. You hear almost a voice whispering in your head to just start talking.
It's getting crowded in here.
So, John Baptiste, what ancient language did you choose to learn?
Latin.
So everybody else hears John Baptiste speaking in Latin, like ancient Latin, but at the same time, it's almost like that dual screen. So on one side, you hear him speaking Latin, and on the other side, you're comprehending it in the ancient language of your choice. So when you respond in kind, you're speaking in your language of choice, but they're hearing it in both your language and their chosen language. It's a little eerie. It's kind of very eerie. Also kind of cool, but very eerie.
This is really weird.
Kind of gives me a headache.
Yeah. So you guys, your study groups are scheduled for an hour, twice a week. You're expected to study on your own time, which is why you guys are allowed to take these Rosetta Stones with you. But you are absolutely expected to participate, as this is kind of a group effort. So that is how you guys will be spending your Tuesday and Thursday afternoons.
Learning how to speak ancient languages.
Yep.
How heavy are these stone tablets?
They're pretty light.
Yeah.
They're surprisingly light. Like you're a science textbook from high school. It's it's a little thinner than your science textbook from high school, but it's fairly light, surprisingly.
So, out of game, what exactly do these stones do?
So they basically help you with learning your ancient languages.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another way for you to have the opportunity to learn, basically.
How many languages can we learn?
So you guys are starting off with English, one common language of your choice, one rare language, and one ancient language. like all master magicians are fluent in a variety of languages. It's just really useful for comprehending like resources. Like a lot of your materials are going to be written in like an ancient language more likely than not. And spells like comprehend languages only work for so long.
Are we all learning the same language at the same time? or
No,
we
you guys
choosing
are all
which ones?
choosing an ancient language to learn. So the language options are in the player's notes for Arcadia Academy. You guys start off with one of each, but then as you level up in your like when you reach different tiers of your discipline, you get to learn another language. So when you become a master level magician, you'll be fluent in a handful of languages. So languages are really important in this world. Like, even if you guys had full access to the whole library, you wouldn't be able to read the majority of the stuff because you guys don't know your languages. That's how important languages are.
Fair enough.
Any other questions? If you guys think of any, let me know.
Yeah, none that I can think of.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys do leave your first language study session with a little bit of a headache. You guys imagine that it'll be a little bit of an adjustment period as you guys get used to these language learning devices. The rest of your week passes by in a surprisingly smooth rhythm. You guys find that you've gotten used to your schedules really fast. It's a little comforting in that sense. You guys are all learning together. You guys are getting to know your classmates. The weekend comes faster than you realize. It's like you've blinked and it's the end of the week. You guys are woken up a little early by sharp knocking at your doors, and you guys open your doors to find your discipline mentors waiting for you to take you to the village.
Oh. Is there anything that we should or should not bring with us?
Dress comfortably, and I mean, bring your student ID card so you can pay for stuff if you want to buy it. They do take our I guess you can call it like Arcadia campus books or something.
Fair enough.
Should we bring our weapon with us?
If you'd like.
Cassandra is now paranoid and brings her dagger and book everywhere.
Yeah, if you look at your discipline mentors, you'll notice they're very casually dressed. They're not wearing armor. And they have like subtle weapons on them, but nothing overtly obvious.
Yeah, I would, if they're not going like super obviously armored, neither would I.
So you would infer that you're probably not going anywhere like dangerous.
Worst comes to worst, I have a spell for that.
Yeah.
My room wasn't supposed to be dangerous.
Yeah, Cassandra,
Whatever.
you've had a real bad week in terms of sleep. You've had trouble going to sleep every night. You've got bags under your eyes. You're a little twitchy, to say the least.
I might ask to change rooms. Thinking about it.
Jean-Baptiste is going to take his satchel and his top hat.
Okay,
A
so
top hat?
Of course I have a top hat.
I mean,
God.
hello, look
Why
at his
would
character
you have a top
icon.
Yeah.
Okay, so your mentors kind of lead you guys out of the campus, and you guys are joined by other students, both your year and you assume their mentors. You guys are led through the woods, and you stop in front of what appears to be a clearing in the middle of the woods. And if you reach out with your magic, you feel the faintest shimmer of magic brushing up against your magical core, as if discerning your intentions. Does anybody have ill intentions towards Olympia Village at this time?
No.
You guys have no idea what it is. So,
Burn it
Yep.
down.
as you guys have no ill intent, that layer of magic seems to melt away to reveal the village. It's not what you might imagine for a village that has been misplaced from World War II Greece and transported across the world. It has clearly evolved with the times, for before you is a quaint modern-day town with an old-world charm. There are vehicles for roads to move throughout the village, but several residents appear content to walk around instead. From what you can see, it looks like the stores also double as homes, as you can see villagers stepping out onto the balcony to do a myriad of domestic or relaxing activities, such as hanging up laundry to dry, sitting and reading a book or newspaper, or happily chatting with somebody else while sipping beverages. But the most startling thing about this village are its inhabitants, for they are not quite human. For starters, the creature approaching you walks on 4 legs. They have a human head, the body of a lion, large majestic wings that are folded towards their body, and they are impeccably dressed in a 3-piece suit that appears perfectly tailored to their torso. Surprise! Jonathan says cheerfully, and there's amusement on the upperclassmen's faces as they watch the dumbstruck expressions on all of yours. You know how everyone kept telling you that magical creatures basically don't exist in this world? That's a little something we like to call hazing. A very good time-honored tradition, Telrin smirks, minus all of the distasteful rituals of stringing you up by your undies or wasting good alcohol. Sylvie nods towards the approaching creature and adds, "Meet Mayor Aldridge."
Mayor?
Sylvie nods as she leans against Kellen, who has wrapped an arm around her waist and holds her with casual intimacy. Rosie cheerfully waves towards the mayor and calls out, "Hi, Mayor Aldridge!" "Ah, welcome back, fledglings," the mayor greets boisterously. "And I see that you have brought the newest fledglings with you. Is it that time already?" And Ruga nods and says, "Yep. Meet the newest first years." "I see." And he turns his gaze towards the lot of you. That's where we're going to leave this episode. Until next time, bye!
Bye.
Guys.
Bye.
Okay. Aw, Peanut says bye. Thanks for listening. For more information about the world of Arcadia Academy, please check out our website, bookwyrmsandcatdragons.com. That is book, WYRMS, and catdragons.com. Everything is spelled exactly how it sounds, except for worms, which is WYRMS. And if you like what you're listening to so far, please consider supporting our Patreon, patreon.com/bookwyrmsandcatdragons. Patrons get exclusive access to the behind-the-scenes content that you won't find anywhere else, including a new patron shoutout, an invite to patron-only Discord channels, and depending on the tier, access to our Party Talk segments where we discuss sessions, opportunities to name NPCs, chances to submit a signature spell for the world, invitations to monthly Q&As with our team, and so much more. See you next time!
Some notes for the episode. Jean-Baptiste actually would have been woken up during Cassandra's attempted kidnapping. So, we'll retcon that, and pretend he was with the others, checking up on her to make sure she was okay. This episode is called Hazing in Good Taste, because getting people puking drunk and stringing them up by their undies is quite distasteful. Also, the players kept asking Kelly if magical creatures were going to be a thing, to which initially she kept saying no. Then bookworms became a thing, and then David and Kelly came up with the idea for the residents of Olympia Village, and the rest is history.